Uh, Yo, what's up, guys? Oh, yikes. Let's full screen this. We are on the Netease ladder. I'm not covering the tournament that's going on right now, which actually I have no idea what it's called, but yeah, this is just a ladder game. I do apologize for not uploading in a while. This week I've had two group projects, and those are very, very annoying to deal with. So yeah, that's done and dusted with, and hopefully we can just resume to just normal casting replays. Oh yikes, we have incomplete building models once again. This is like a very, very old problem. I think the solution to that was, I think it might have actually been the map, but I'm pretty sure this is just a standard Echoes Isles map, so this is a little bit awkward. But either way, Lucifer spawning as the red undead player on the top right. I actually had no idea if this is an alias of his or not, but either way, Soin spawning in as the blue orc on the top left. I chose this one because the hero picks seemed a little bit spicy for at least Lucifer's side. We're just gonna have the standard Blade Master first for Soin. Meanwhile, Lucifer is with a delayed Altar of Darkness, so this will lead into a Tavern Hero start for himself. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what that particular hero is going to be. As we're just pumping out those ghouls, Graveyard is not placed down. Oh, actually, I'm completely blind. Yeah, Graveyard already down. We should be starting to see our first couple of Gryphians as well. I swear to God, it's mainly because of this, the lack of building models that I guess I just completely missed the Graveyard. Backpack is also being researched, which is rather interesting. I believe it's just so when the Tavern Hero gets hired, he can just go straight into creeping with the skeleton stick there. And we got Raw Necromancy gets picked up, and the ghouls should be picking up the eventual hero here for Lucifer, as someone just going for what I believe is just the item camps here. He's gone for the first Ogre Warrior, getting himself the Gloves of Haste, which is not too particularly great. He is looking for, of course, the circlets and the claws. So yeah, he is going to try his hand at this camp. Thankfully, it has not been started at all. I'm not even sure if someone is aware that Lucifer went for a Tavern Hero, who is apparently going to be the Beastmaster first. Extremely out of the ordinary pick here for especially an undead hero. Normally the Death Knight is the go-to bread and butter kind of hero because he's just so good at healing, securing kills with death coils, and Unholy Aura is a reasonable aura, of course. It's definitely better than Devotion, but yeah, Beastmaster, I'm very curious to see how he is going to contribute, because you are, of course, comparing yourself to like one of the greatest starting heroes, which is the Death Knight. And so far, it is just going to be some quick and easy camps here. Bottom right is going to be cleared out for Soin, and he is going to be pretty lucky. 2 out of 3 camps so far have been close attack drops, and he will be gaining that level 2 proc as well. As he did kind of waste his last salve there, a little bit of a mistake from Soin. But yeah, he is looking pretty good. Just needs to avoid the confrontations, obviously, as we are going to have the Grunt spotting out what is being entailed, and rather unlucky there for the Grunt, as the Trapper, with his dying breath, is going to toss out the net, and that is going to be... oh, the Grunt is actually going to be able to pop out there, as it seems like Lucifer might have spent too much time killing the Trapper. Blade Master needs to be careful there. He can get spotted by the Hawk, so yeah, there is that to take into consideration. Obviously, there's no real lockdown for the undead armor so far, yeah, the only units have actually been just summoned units, so yeah, either they are going to get taken out or they're just going to expire with the timer. But anyway, Blade Master running around with still quite a bit of confidence at 50 health. He does not have salves, he does not have TP scrolls, so yeah, bit scary. I'm surprised that Soin actually burns the speed scroll rather than just windwalking, because he's near full mana, and I just don't even know if that was the worthwhile usage of that item. Anyway, all this time, where the Beastmaster was preoccupying his opponent, we are going to have a couple of Cryptines on the field here, and Shadowhunter, of course, with his typical double introduction line. I don't know, I still don't know the source of that problem. But yeah, it is definitely awkward. Marketplace is going to clear it out here. Tome of Strength is going to be pretty helpful for the Beastmaster, as he is, of course, a strength-based hero. And the Early Magi is going to drop Scroll the Beast. Definitely thematic, since it is, of course, a Beastmaster holding it. But not sure how useful it's going to be. Obviously, it can just get sold for that quick extra bit of gold. But it seems like Lucifer is going to hold onto it for now. It seems like he is probably sensing a skirmish coming in very soon, as the Beastmaster is just a smidges away from level 3, and yeah, honestly, I don't know what he's actually going to pick. He could obviously pick the Frenzy Beasts, which increase auto attack speed, and it seems like that is going to be the case, as Thunderhawk is going to be pushed away until probably level 4. You see there, Beastmaster actually purchasing a lot of items, healing potions, mana potions, and he also picked up the Sacrificial Skull, and he is possibly looking for some early assaults here at the base, as yeah, the Blight will aid those Crypt Fiends in reaching that health. Renegade Wizard Camp on the right here is being attempted, but it seems like the pressure being put onto the base is going to force Soin to return, as the Orc Burrows are the main targets, it seems. The Frenzy Beasts are connoisseurs in actually taking down those Orc Burrows, as Orc Burrows obviously not fortified armor, they are heavy armor, so they do resist a little bit, but with only 600 health, yeah, they are pretty much as strong as paper, to be honest. That is 2 Orc Burrows down. Meanwhile, the Orc army is still en route. Of course, that is the downside of not actually having any TP scrolls available. And yeah, all in all, pretty successful assault here from Lucifer. Honestly, at this point, he should probably just start channeling his TP scroll, because all he's going to do is give free experience over. He is going to try and inflict as many kills on these peons as possible, but no, it seems like the Beastmaster is going to choose to just run away, as so far those Crypt Fiends are just being burrowed out. Never mind, they are going to unburrow themselves and just try and get out of there as quickly as possible. Beastmaster unfortunately did get ensnared surrounded, so yeah, that is going to be a TP being forced, and the unburrow is going to happen with those Crypt Fiends to ensure that they just get back home safely. Yes, so we are extremely screwed if your name is Soin, because pretty much all your Orc Burrows got taken down, and you are forced to kind of be blocked because you are just trying to rebuild that food supply chain, I guess.
We're under attack.
So yeah, there is that. Lucifer taking advantage of the strong points that the Beastmaster has, which is very, very strong level 3 with those level 2 Quill Beasts, and Orc Burrows. Just, I think Orc Burrows might be the most type of like thing lost to Frenzy Beasts, and yeah, you're just seeing it work right now. Beastmaster is being chased down by the Blade Master, however, and he needs to be extremely careful not to lose to that, because I don't actually know. He did get his place in TP scroll, so at worst case he will probably have to have burnt that again, and that could have been a win for the Blade Master there, but it seems like he is just not going to risk sticking around too long, because of course, like I said before, Hawk does have true sight, and he will be able to spot the Blade Master running around invis. So there is that. Plus 23 Blade Master is not actually that bad. This is of course outside of the Battle Drum aura, so it can get even more devastating once those Kodo Beasts actually join the fray. But yeah, as you can see, Soin still, at least he has finally recovered from his supply blunder, but yeah, the resources invested into that did kind of take a toll, as you can see here. He is still sitting on that 40 supply. Ideally, you would want to be at 50, but I guess he is just recouping on the resources that he did spend. Lucifer just going straight into those destroyers. He is not exactly in a impressive supply count himself either at 42, but oh, never mind, he just completely jumps. I believe that's a frost worm being produced there. Yeah, I saw that 42 go straight up to a 49, and I mean, Undead only has one unit that costs 7 supply, and that is indeed a frost worm. So doing it with the air units right now, as Lucifer is quickly picking off those grunts there with the Thunderhawk and Destroyer. But the Crypt Fiends need to be careful not to get quickly picked off there by the Raiders, as they are going to use their ensnares on the statues rather than the Destroyers, as they would go with a 1 ensnare onto the Destroyer, and that is most likely going to be Destroyer number 1 taken out here for Lucifer. The Blade Master, of course, doesn't actually have to rely on the ensnare since he does have his Lightning Orb, but that is not a good fight for Lucifer at all. That is going to force the TP Scroll. Not exactly at an early timing, but definitely a little too late there. Losing his statues, losing one of his destroyers, and of course losing a couple of his Crypt Fiends is definitely not an ideal time to start channeling that TP Scroll. As Thunderhawk is still running around, it is going to expire very soon, as we do see the first Troll Headhunter coming out here for Soin. So Soin making the correct adaptation in adding his ranged units here. Troll Berserker upgrade is going to be on the way as well, and yeah, honestly perfect timing, because I don't actually believe that Soin is aware that Frost Worms are actually being added to the mix as well, so those Troll Berserkers are going to be kind of a nightmare to deal with if you are either a Destroyer or a Frost Worm. Kodo Beast number 1 is out, and the Blade Master is sitting at plus 27 attack. Looking at the tech here, it is only basic Warsong Aura, so that can go up to, I believe, like 30, plus 30 attack as well. I think we did see close attack plus number 4 being picked up here for the Shadow Hunter, so that could be given over. Oh yeah, because we do have a freeze here. That could be given over to the Blade Master later, but here comes a skirmish once again. Firelord gets picked up as the second hero for Lucifer, so it's all about the summon units right now for the Undead player, and that is going to be a nice hex onto the Frost Worm. He is pretty much eliminated from the fight, and you can see here that this is not looking good for Lucifer, despite having similar supplies on both sides. The Frost Worm is now going to get out of that hex, and the Shadow Hunter is out of mana, so surprisingly enough, yeah, despite the Frost Worm being out of the fight for most of the time, the air units are just kind of too hard to deal with for Soin, and now he is going to be cut down to about 30 supply versus his opponent's 41. Firelord, I believe he actually went for Soulburn first, as the armor shredding is going to be rather helpful. Now that he's level 2, he's most likely got himself his lava spawns, but he hasn't actually popped them down just quite yet. Here we go here, another skirmish. There you can see the soul burn onto the Shadow Hunter there, with that minus attack damage and minus armor. I have no idea why the freezes are happening, but once again a hex coming down onto the Frost Worm. But yes, you can see that Troll Berserker just exploded with the soul burn there from the Firelord. And actually no, it's the other ability of the Firelord. Apologies for not actually remembering his third ability, but I've actually never seen it actually in play, so yeah, let me just get my phone right now. I actually have no idea, but I'm pretty sure that is his last basic ability. Firelord. Yeah, because I'm as far as I remember, Soulburn doesn't actually have that property of exploding. That must be in his second ability, which is Incinerate. Ooh. So it's basically just an auto attack enhancement, like what was it? Like Searing Shot from the Priestess of the Moon. And yeah, it's basically just increased damage and yeah, apparently it just ramps up and it has the explodey effect like that we have seen. So surprisingly enough, this is working. Obviously this is going to be a lot harder for Lucifer to actually carry out now that Soin's getting a good number of Raiders and Troll Berserkers. But yeah, this is clearly different from the norm here. Orb of Corruption on the Fire Lord, so on top of his Soulburn armor shredding, he does have just passive armor shredding with his auto attacks.
We're under attack!
Bottom right camp is going to get cleared out here as the Blade Master is trying to be harassive as possible. He did not pick up the 4th close of attack, which is currently on that Shadowhunter. Actually, no, wow, Shadowhunter got rid of the close of attack there. As, interesting. I could have sworn I saw the an extra pair of claws being picked up from this particular camp, and it was on the Shadowhunter earlier, but I guess I was mistaken. I mean, the Blade Master is still at plus 23, so he definitely didn't get another pair of claws of attack, so it probably got just sold off for a little bit of gold. Either way, both sides getting their expansions up and running. Yeah, this is probably going to lead into a low upkeep army for both sides. Lucifer, not actually that impressive in terms of numbers because just the nature of Frostworms taking so much food supply, but he will make up for it with his summoned units, with his Beastmaster, who is currently at level 5, so we do have actually the Spirit Hawk, I believe? Yeah, so Invisible Hawk is online. Obviously you can't see it with just the Ensnare if that actually gets cast. And here we go, 2 Destroyers, 2 Frostworms, a lot of Troll Berserkers to actually burn through there. And the first Troll Berserker is going to get absolutely destroyed. And no Ensnare is actually being cast to prepare for the Orc side. And this is going to be devastating for Soin to actually deal with because there's no obvious focus fire. One Frostworm is actually going to get focus fired finally, but that is not without the help of those Ensnares that the Raiders have yet to cast actually, and you can see there that the Fire Lord is just exploding these units. Raiders, I believe those are the only Raiders available, and 1 of 2 has already been taken down. Beastmaster is out of mana, but we still have like a Frostworm available. Hex is going to get cast to try and save the lives of those Orc units, as the Fire Lord is also out of mana himself, is going to get taken down by the Blade Master, as we have yet another freeze. I do apologize about that. As surprisingly enough, someone just turns this around. I guess now that both heroes were out of mana, they can't really supplement their army with summoned units anymore. And lo and behold, it seems like Soin is able to just pull this through.
Ready to ride.
Of course, he is just continuing to produce his units at his base as well, and he is going into low upkeep here as Beastmaster without mana is not going to produce any results there. As you can see, Purge Ball just absolutely destroying those summon units. You don't even actually need those Spirit Walkers to cast this enchant, because the Blade Master just does it himself. Honestly, it looked pretty good in the beginning of the fight, but once the Fire Lord and the Beastmaster ran out of mana, they kind of lost steam, and then it just ended up working badly. The sustained damage that the Blade Master brings just seems to be more valuable than the surprise factor that the Beastmaster and the Fire Lord brings to the table, as the Teacher's Scroll is going to get channeled, but the Frostworm, the last Frostworm in fact, is going to get taken out there. So yikes, cutting supply down to 44. Lucifer is actually in a pretty dire situation. Most of the units are actually on those ghouls, which is, I mean, that's not going to be helpful versus Raiders slash Troll Berserkers at all. Supply at 60 for Soin, 45 for Lucifer, and yeah, this is not looking good. The Beastmaster just killing his own acolytes there. I'm not exactly sure why. He could have definitely been turned into a shade, but I guess he just doesn't want to burden himself with that supply. Fire load is back, but I don't know if he's actually going to do all that much anymore. You can see how much mana he actually just burns with that Incinerate. Yeah, and of course he has to cast Soulburn on top of that as well, so definitely not a sustainable hero at all. Level 5 Shadowhunter, level 5 Blade Master, just a smidgen away from Bladestorm in fact. So we might even actually top this game off with a Bladestorm finisher. And who knows, we might even have a big bad Voodoo coming out from the Shadowhunter as well.
Vengeance for Surgeon.
Alrighty, 20 supply difference, looking good. Of course we do have a couple of summon units there, but like I said, Orb of Lightning is just so good versus the Beastmaster that, yeah, those guys might not even be a factor coming into this. Spirit Walk is going to expire. Beastmaster is going to be forced to use a Mana Pod to try and resummon because, yeah, Spirit Walk kind of a big player in this army comp now that the Frost Rooms are out. But to be honest, this is going to be kind of disastrous. Let's see, Scroll Protection is going to be cast. Ghouls just running it down, trying to get a Concave, but they're just so low tier units at this stage of the game that I really can't see them pulling the work. They even Frenzy Ghouls, they are not actually Frenzy Ghouls, so even that is not going to work out well for them. Level 6 onto the Shadowhunter there, as we are not going to have a Bladestorm coming out, sadly, nor do we have the Big Bad Voodoo coming out for Soin. So yeah, Lucifer is going to take the L on that one. It definitely was interesting. I think investing heavily on those Frost Worms might not have been the smartest idea. I think definitely he should have maybe focused more on Crypt Fiends, because yeah, that just did not work out well for him. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Definitely was a bit spicy, but obviously, yeah, not spicy enough.